Hi, I'm the Global Runner, and today I wanted to do a follow-up to a video I did last year, which 16,000 of you viewed.
I appreciate you.
And in that video, I took you through 4 shoes which I had regretted buying in the previous 12 months. I'm going to do the same now, but this year I've got 5 shoes I regret buying in the previous 12 months. So let's get straight to it. Now these are in order of regret, so number 5 is the one I regret buying least and number 1 is the one I regret buying most. So number 5 on the list is this shoe, the Adidas Prime X. Now I know this might come as a bit of a shock to a lot of you, but I regret buying this shoe. This shoe reminds me of a story I heard about Lance Armstrong, where he had a new bike, a brand new bike, and he thought this was the best. He used to call it the and he loved this bike until he realized that halfway up his hill climbs he would lose power based on the aerodynamics of the bike, and that bike immediately went from being the to just and that's sort of what happened with this shoe. I got it to 100 miles immediately, like within 2 weeks, and I loved it. I absolutely loved this shoe until I didn't anymore. I feel like this shoe caused serious calf issues for me and caused serious heel issues. Now that might be just the carbon fiber plate, it might not even be this shoe, but the fact that in my head it felt like this shoe had injured me, I immediately stopped running in it and I haven't run in it since. And so unfortunately, and this is probably going to be quite controversial, the Prime X is a shoe that I regret buying in the previous 12 months. Moving straight along to number 4 on the list, we have this shoe, the Inov-8 Parklore G280. Now, I feel a bit sorry for this shoe because there's nothing wrong with this shoe. I actually really enjoyed this shoe. Nice and flexible, nice and grippy, works well on roads, works well on trail. But the problem with this shoe is that whenever I go to reach for it and think, oh, I need a trail shoe, I always reach for the Pegasus Trail 4. And so the only reason I regret buying the Inov-8 is because I think the Pegasus is a very similar shoe, but it's the one I prefer. And so I've got a ton of mileage out of the Pegasus, and I've almost got no miles on the Inov-8 simply because every time I feel like I'm going to go out for a run on the trail, I grab the Pegasus in advance of this one. So unfortunately, while this is a good shoe, I do regret buying it in the previous 12 months. Okay, moving along at pace now, we're at shoe number 3. So the third shoe that I regret buying in the last 12 months is this one, the Nike Fly 5. So this shoe just did not work for me. I found it stiff, I found it uncomfortable, it really was not the ride that I was hoping for. It was a real disappointment to me, which was exacerbated by the fact that this shoe, this is the original Fly SP version. I love this shoe. I thought this was a great shoe. So this shoe is similar to the Fly 5, and so I was hoping that the Fly 5 would encompass a bit more of this type of shoe, but unfortunately I really did not get along with the Fly 5. I put some miles in it, probably less than 10, and I decided that this really wasn't the shoe for me. I would note as well, as an aside, that the Fly 5 is significantly heavier than the original Fly, like by 80 grams. Like, what's up with that, Nike? Can't we make shoes a little bit lighter? I think the problem with the Fly 5 is that it got away from its original roots. The original roots had a nice lightweight shoe. This is not a nice lightweight shoe. So unfortunately, the Fly 5 is number 3 on the list of shoes that I regret buying in the previous 12 months. Shoe number 2 on my list was so bad, I actually gave it away. Shoe number 2 is the New Balance Super Comp Pacer. Now I've already done a post on this shoe asking if this was the worst shoe of all time, and I really didn't enjoy this shoe. It just did nothing for me. The upper didn't work, it was uncomfortable, it caused pain in the ball of my foot. It ripped apart having spent like 3 miles on the treadmill. It was just a really poorly executed shoe. So number 2 on the list was the New Balance Supercomp Pacer. And I asked in that video whether or not that was the worst running shoe of all time, and it turns out it wasn't. That is reserved for shoe number 1 on my list. Let's look at what that is. And then finally, number 1, the shoe that I regret buying the most is this one, the Nike Zoom Ultrafly. This is a $350 Canadian shoe. And I found it heavy, I found it cumbersome, I found it a real effort to run in, I found it unstable, like you were always worried that your foot was going to roll on a rock. It just didn't work. It doesn't work as a trail shoe. Now it's got good grip, that's great, and it felt great on the roads or maybe downhill on a fire road. But really, this was a real waste of money and a waste of a lot of money. So this, the Nike Ultrafly, is the shoe I regret buying most in the last 12 months. So there you have it, a quick rundown of the 5 shoes I regret buying in the last 12 months. Let me know if you agree with my assessment, let me know if you disagree, let me know if you've got a pair of shoes or several pairs of shoes that you regret buying in the last 12 months. So thanks for watching, don't forget to mash the like button, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.